Hello everyone, this is the LEGO City Lunar Space Station for 2022. It comes with exactly 500 pieces officially, and I bought it for its suggested retail price of $80 US and built it live over on Twitch. This comes with 5 minifigures, and it's based on concepts from the NASA Artemis program and the idea of having a lunar space station in lunar orbit to use as a transfer. They call it a gateway between the lunar surface and Earth ultimately. So we'd be able to send rockets and ships and things up into lunar orbit and then transfer stuff into here, and people can live here long term. Experiments can be conducted up here long term, and then when needed, people and objects can also be transferred down to the lunar surface. Some aspects of this are also inspired by science fiction, as this is not 100% accurate to the way that NASA is looking at designing this, at least as far as I've been able to see from most current concepts. At the rear here are a couple of spars with large solar panels. These are printed pieces here, not stickered, unlike most of the other solar panels in this series to date, but the prints themselves are not the greatest, honestly. The quality isn't as good as I would like it to be. Just the opacity and consistency isn't perfect, but hey, it's prints. Also, you're able to angle these like so, forward and back, and also in and out a bit, although on the other side, you're not going to be able to angle them down unless you do a little bit of modification. But there's also one additional small feature in here where you can open up this port at the top, or this hatch, and then pull something out, and it lets those fall down a bit. I don't know if this is supposed to be for maintenance. You know, you do some work on it, then you put it back in and they go back out, or if that's intended to be a battery that's being recharged. That object in there does not get reused for other things. Next thing that we see along the top is a crane for manipulating some stuff that may have been brought up from the moon and preparing it for transfer, either preparing to bring it on board or preparing it for transfer to another craft to ultimately send it back down to Earth. But this has right now a geode, an entire geode that's been picked up from the lunar surface. This is great. I've shown this in other videos, so I won't show it too much again here. But if this is the first video that you've seen of mine covering the space series for 2022, check out the inside. It is very nice. It's rather beautiful. Dual molded there. So this is one piece. This is technically 2 pieces because there's an old chi crystal inside of there as well. But it just looks really good with metallic silver color. It's mixed together pretty well. You don't see a whole lot of the metallic nature of it. Almost looks kind of like, I don't know, like palladium with its finish, but then the trans light blue in there as well. It's just really nice, and this can be easily attached here. This can grab some other things, but not too many things. And also, there are limitations to just what you can do with this crane, just how far it'll go. You know, like it'll kind of come up here, but then what? So yeah, I don't think it does all that much. There's also a module right here. So you've got handholds on the outside for EVAs, you know, folks who are doing extravehicular activities, to hold on while they wait for the hatch to open. And this is just an airlock section. There's nothing inside, but you can see that is also able to be accessed from the other side. Most of the good stuff is right here in the middle, but I'm going to skip that just for the moment to show you this module, which is obviously just a spacecraft, and this can be easily removed because this is intended to be just a docking unit, and a single person is able to go in there. And this has 3 stickers on it, 1 sticker on either side, 1 sticker on the top, and that's a sticker right there, strangely round on top of a square tile, little control panel there, and a specimen jar, or specimen locker. So this has another one of those chi crystals in it for transfer, I'm assuming, again, back down to Earth. And then over here, we get some solar panels on this as well for long-term use when it's not in the process of, you know, going between an orbit and home. But these can also be folded back, I guess, is kind of the idea. Probably need to get them farther out of the way. That's not enough. You can see there's also on the back of this a big old engine, so I'm not sure what the intent is there, but you can use your imagination a little bit, and not everything needs to be 100% accurate, but the more the merrier, as long as it still ends up being a good toy. So this is the docking port right here. People can just barely go through that. In a zero grav situation, they can go through like this. But I wish that whole piece was larger. But that is the same piece that was used for the last city sub-theme space sets some years ago. So I'm again happy that they've continued to use this, so you can connect this ultimately fairly easily without too much difficulty to older stuff. Down below here, you've got the hatch that can close that off. They can seal it off, but you can also easily pull this out. I'm glad that they used that technique to hold that on there, so you don't need to do any disassembly to have a completely flat area here where you can just bring any other module that's compatible with that system right up here. And there's also this transceiver dish right here. All right, with everything put back together, let's talk about the main section right in the middle. Once again, another solar panel up top. That one does use a sticker just like this over here did. I want to talk a little bit about these window pieces, these windscreen pieces, because obviously that is all scratched up. I mean, you can see the scuffs, and some of them are fairly deep. That is not a good thing. That is an ongoing problem that LEGO really needs to work on, especially since they switched away from polycarbonate or Lexan for their clear pieces, for their fully transparent pieces. Just a couple years ago, they switched to a softer material that scuffs up much more easily. Also, it's not as obvious right here, but there's a difference in color. Let's see if I can see it. Oh yeah, you can definitely see it much better here. Oh, you can totally see it much better here. Between windows from different batches. So this one is clearly pretty green. I mean, that's almost more green. No, I think it is more green than it is blue. This is supposed to be cyan, should be half and half, but that's more green than it is blue compared to this one over here. Look at that. Well, that's more blue. It's still cyan, but it's closer to blue. And there's been a lot of that variation. A lot of people have noticed it, and it's becoming a little bit more of an issue. You can see these two are different as well, with a lot of scuffs. That's something that is a problem that LEGO needs to work on, at least in my personal opinion. So this is some crew quarters. You can live in here, and you can do some experiments in here. They've got just a screen up there. It's good that there are bars to hold onto, hand holds, so your figures can be made to look like they're in zero grav. And then over on this side, another screen that's supposed to be a small research station. I don't know exactly what's going on there. Let's look at the other side. So this is where some plants would be growing off the wall through hydroponics, I would assume. And there's a spot to hold on to a minifig accessory there. Over here, I guess this is intended to represent the kitchen. There's not much to it because there's not a whole lot of space. It's a little bit of a shame that they weren't able to take advantage of more interior space with these add-on modules that are already there. Of course, I didn't mention, but these down here, these little supports are just for us humans who are here on Earth to be able to have this aligned and not falling down and drooping around the sides. Down here is where people are able to sleep. So there's one of these beds on either side that can conveniently fold in when you want to close up the windows. And beside the bed is a computer screen, a rather large one. So you see the person who's occupying this space is listening to some music, and you can see some files being browsed over on the left. Meanwhile, the one on the other side is having a video call. So a video call is active. You got chat on the left, and then you've got a couple of relatives there. I'm assuming that's intended to represent a wife and son. But yeah, so that works out well. I just kind of wish that there was more other space to do other things here. Of course, you got a suggestion of propulsion. Maybe if you want to start using this to actually transfer crew from lunar orbit out to Mars, which is the next step beyond the Artemis project as it exists today, but that's about it for what you can do with this right now. Here are three of the crew members. The two torsos on the left are identical, and in the middle there is a really nice hand drill build made with just two pieces. I almost like that more than I like the more realistic molded drill that LEGO offers up in their bags, their packs of tools for minifigs. Underneath here, you do have an alternate face. I want you to see these faces over here as well. So a sleeping face, you can put that in the bed and it would be appropriate. And there you go. And they also set us up with two figures with EVA suits. The one on the right is a little bit more complete, with the lights. It's a thicker pack and also has thrusters all over it. The one on the left is a little bit more more sleek. Also, this has a print, and that's a sticker. Underneath those helmets, you do have some regular faces, and there's a better look at that torso print if you've not seen it yet, as well as a look around the other side. And this one on the left has an alternate face. The one on the right does not. For the 3 helmeted figures, 3 alternate hair pieces are also included, which gets a big thumbs up from me. And these are the few spare parts. Meanwhile, the sticker sheet for this set is fairly sizable. The price of $80 US feels like too much to me for this, even considering the fact that a number of the pieces are fairly large. The build process felt pretty appropriate throughout, for the age target group of 6+. Didn't feel like it was wasting too much, but still feel like $80 is not the right price for this. And I think that the prices in other regions look like they're going to reflect that as indeed a fact. And I think Lego is expecting this to go on sale, to be put on sale by retail partners. I would like this to be more like $65, and I feel like I'm being generous even at that, but it is 2022 after all, and prices of everything have gone up, and prices of Lego have gone up again as well. But yeah, I would give this 65 to be fair. There are a couple of problems, a couple serious misses with this. First of all this space here not really being usable for anything other than just putting a person in there and pretending that they're going to transfer through, because we're rarely going to actually put a figure through from, put a figure into here and then really transfer it through into there. Like, you're just going to use your imagination. You're going to open this up and you're going to put a person over there, because otherwise it's not that convenient really. But this has that one single action feature of sorts, which isn't really that valuable to me. It's kind of cool, but I would rather have a small, I don't know, just something else that could be done there. Something you could pretend to be fixing. I guess this counts, but I'd like to be able to get a minifigure in there standing somewhere. All they got are tiles over here. You can't even really attach them to anything other than on the outside. The crane could have been more useful, but it doesn't bother me. The other thing that does bother me, though, is that the lander from the other set that is most closely related to this, the Lunar Exploration Base set, cannot be docked. This is the main thing that you want to be docked to this, because you're going to be transferring, like I mentioned earlier, people to the surface and then back up to lunar orbit to this thing. So you need to be able to take a person from here and put them in here, and then put this down to the surface, and then maybe pick up some samples or something from the surface, some crystals from inside of a big old geode, and then bring this back up and then dock it. But there's no way. That's more a problem with this than anything, but still it's a problem of the entire system. And I mean, they could have come up with something here like this end here. You think, oh, well, it's just a capsule. Just pull that off and hook it up here. It doesn't work that way. This is not intended to be taken apart like that. I guess I could pop these out, and now technically this could be, if I move the pins, but it requires some, taking off the top and the bottom. And it's really not designed to work that way. This, like, even that leaves a spacer, so you gotta modify it really. This is not thought out well. The main thing that you want to do with this, the main purpose of this, it's a gateway. It's intended to be an in-between spot, an in-between stop. And Lego has failed to accommodate that main primary use case in the play patterns for this entire little sub-theme that they came up with. And that feels like a major, major miss. So many of the things here look nice and have good potential to them to be played with on their own. But you don't want to miss a major opportunity like that, which they definitely have. Fortunately, at least the rest of it can work well. I'm just going to take this out of the way momentarily. The rest of it can work well with the system, with the interchangeable connections, because all this stuff comes apart. And then, if you had 2 of these, you could put most of the stuff together. Yeah, not all of it, not the tail. Might want to modify that a little bit, but you could put another of these here, put another of these in the middle, or if you had the rocket launch or some of the older stuff from a couple years back, all that stuff can be made to work together. You might need to skip a pin here or there to salvage one if you don't have any extra Technic pins, but it's not too difficult to make that work. So I like that. I like that system, but you really messed up with this one, Lego. Making this not work here. It's too important to leave out. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. This one did not match my expectations, did not live up to my desires for it. It looked really good in the pictures, and I had high hopes for it, but this is one of the weaker things for play in my opinion. Fortunately, the main things that you're paying for here, center section and this, those work fine by themselves, but the rest, figures are good. Yeah. Needs to be much cheaper. Then I would be a lot more forgiving of its flaws. Those are my thoughts. I'm sticking to them. Thank you for watching. I will be bringing you more reviews very soon, and I'll talk to you again then. Bye for now.